Welcome, everybody, to Panfish Nation, along with Mark. I'm Lyle.
I know, Mark, you should have seen what I saw, what was happening during that countdown, folks. You wouldn't believe me if I told you, so I'm going to keep it to myself.
Oh, man,
I should have cut that countdown short so people could have seen it. I wouldn't do that to you, though, but.
Man, we've had some weather, 80 degrees a couple of days here recently. You know, it's just been amazing. Today is a little bit different. We've had some rain at night. We're not getting the rain we need, but it's better than nothing. You know what I mean?
We're getting it. The gauges at the dam here at Algonquin, since we had that rain, what was on Monday overnight, I think it was, went up 2 feet.
Oh, wow.
And that's with the locks. That's with the locks and all the floodgates open, Lyle. So we got a lot of rain.
That is a lot. Yeah, we're not getting nothing like that. None of our lakes around here. Of course, as you well know, I got Lake Ozark, Truman, Palm de Terre, Stockton, and some smaller lakes. They're all real low. Now, a few of the ponds that have a lot of runoff, it's helped them a little bit. But as far as the big lakes, they're in trouble. We need the spring rains. We didn't get the winter snowfall and the runoff from that like we usually get. So we really do need the spring rains to come on in here, and maybe that'll drown out all the moles in my front yard. That'd be awesome if that happened.
They'd be gone if they do that. I wouldn't hold your breath. They're going to be there.
Yeah, they'll just swim back when it's done.
Yeah, I went fishing on Saturday, which, you know me, I don't really fish out here too much on the weekends, but it's still early enough in the season where I risked it. I'm pretty glad that I did. And this was before the rains. And I went up north to the chain of lakes, which is right here. I was up on the Wisconsin border. The northmost part of the lake, Channel Lake that I was on, one of the lakes, touches the Wisconsin border up there in Antioch. Water was down 2 feet. A lot of the channels that I used to go from lake to lake, like a quarter of them was nothing but mud. Gave me a good opportunity to see what's under there, which is a whole lot of nothing, I found out. But anyways, I fished Channel Lake. I fished Catherine and Marie. Got into those darn white bass a ton, looking for crappie, which was fun. I mean, they fight like little freight trains. They're pretty cool. They're good. They're fun to catch. I got into a bunch of them, and I found the biggest school of bluegill that I've probably ever seen in my life. A huge one over on Catherine. The whole downside of the wind part of the lake, it was at between 9 feet and 12 feet of water was nothing but bluegills. I pulled in a whole bunch of them. They were all small, still small. They were probably last year. I'm no biologist, but there was a ton of them. I got onto a bunch of them. I didn't take too much video or too many pictures or anything. I basically went out there to finish calibrate. Well, actually to learn how to use that new trolling motor in conjunction with my electronics with my head unit and stuff, which was fairly easy. So I went out and fished. I know that our buddy Setting Hooks and Crossing Eyes was out there. I should have gotten his picture. He was out there, I think Saturday or Sunday as well. He got into one of your favorite fish, Lyle, a 40-inch northern pike. He got.
Oh, wow. That'd have been a lot of fun to catch.
Got into a dandy. I should have downloaded that picture to add to the bunch that I have. I talked to him a little bit. I talked to a lot of the local guys, and what they were telling me is they were finding crappie, and there's guys out there that were finding quite a few of them. But since the water was so low, a lot of the channels I couldn't get into or through in my boat. And on the other side of them are like little back bays or little community spots, meaning that there's a community around it. You can't get in there. They were getting in there with kayaks and stuff, and they were slaying them. They were doing pretty good. So we're going to head back out there to not on a chain. I think I'm going to hit the state park tomorrow. The boat ramp is free, Lyle. That's why.
That's my favorite kind of boat ramp.
Well, I'm going to see if I can make Lyle faint. On the weekdays, the one ramp I'd use to go fish where I was thinking about tomorrow, it's $25, $30 on the weekend.
That's ridiculous. I don't know how you do it.
It is what it is. Let me shout out my sponsor, Port Barrington Marina, that takes good care of me all summer long.
Absolutely.
Jimmy and JT, you guys are the best. Without them, I'd be fishing probably a lot less, but we're going to do some traveling this year for sure. But I am going to be doing a lot of flathead fishing. 100%. But yeah, I'm going fishing tomorrow morning. So,
what's the odds of flatheads being moving up your way?
It was 38 degrees on Saturday, the water temp. So we still got a couple of months.
Okay.
It ain't warming up. I heard 50 degrees on the power plant lake south of me, like Braidwood and stuff, and warmer near the power plants, but on average, like right where they were dropping in. My buddy Eric B, he's on an MLF trail. He was out there fishing. He got into a bunch of good. He always gets. He's like one of them fishing savants. Like you ask him what he does, and he couldn't tell you, but he does it. You know, he's one of them guys.
Sounds like a Jerry Parker.
Yeah, but exactly. They just grind. So
that's what you got to do, though. Be successful. That's just the way it works, man.
Hey, there's our buddy Tim Molina. What's going on, Tim? How you doing, my friend?
Glad to see him in here. Hope that you're feeling better today, Tim. Why don't we say hello to everybody, Mark, while we're
pulling that list up right now, live chat. Perfect. All right. We got 3 nights in the house. What's going on, my friend? Benoit Fishing Outdoors. How you doing, dear? Buckeye Catfishing in the house. There's my buddy Bugman 22 from the great state of Indiana. There's Cindy Stokes. How you doing, dear? Hope you're feeling fantastic. Crappie Day Fish On is a channel member. Thank you for supporting Lyle in the channel. You're an awesome dude. There's Greenwell Fishing. How you doing, Mikey? Greg Burgess in the house. Lance McCouguy, what's up, Lance? Hopefully we'll see him in a couple of months here. Mike Irvin in the house. How you doing, Mike? P&B Catfishing. What's up, Paul? There's Parker Pursuits. Pontoon Jody. How you doing, Chef Jody? What is it? Schmieder of the Cedars in the house. What's going on? Sunfish for Fish back with us again this week. Tim Molina, what's up, bud? Everybody, keep Tim in your thoughts and your prayers. You can use them. Wabash Nate in the house, and there's our buddy Wayne Hoska. What's going on, Wayne? How you doing, my friend? Those are all the best people out there in the community with us tonight, Lyle.
I agree with that 100%. I really do. If you guys like what we're doing, please hit that thumbs up before the night and the show is over. It means a lot to us. If you really like what we're doing, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to join, we'd love to have you. But the likes and the subscriptions are what sets us apart from the rest and pushes our name up closer to the top of the list with YouTube. So,
and even more, if you care to share us out, we'd appreciate it if you did.
Your friends might even like it. Local Life Outdoors, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You and I have been talking about this live bait situation a little bit, and there's people that don't fish with anything else. There's also people that will not use it. I have mixed feelings about it because I tie a lot of jigs and flies and stuff, and I like to catch them that way. But there's some days, Mark, when nothing but a live bait will catch fish. It's just the way it is.
You got to have a mixed bag. You got, like, remember your buddy James? Just another tool in the toolbox, Lyle.
Yeah, that's right. That's some truth to that. It really is.
The more you know how to use and throw at them, the better off you're going to be.
That's right. That's right. I've been working on some new jigs and stuff, and I think I showed you pictures of them the other day, but I haven't got to try them out. The water here is so low, and it's so clear that it's really hard to catch them with artificials right now because they see you cast. I mean, they see you walk up the edge of the water. It's just horrible. But I haven't tried any live bait. That probably will be the next thing when I go out again, which is going to be pretty quick because we're warming back up again. It was warm, then it got a little cold, had a little rain. Now it's warming back up. So I'm about ready to go again. But I'm where I like to go, I'm going to try to walk to a spot along the edge of the bank and cast down in the creek, which makes it even worse because it's sitting there looking up at you. But there's a deeper hole down there, and I think that'll help me do that. And I'm going to take red worms, wax worms, and night crawlers.
I think those are wise choices.
If I can't get the jigs and flies to work, then I want to put some fish on a hook. So I think that's the next step. Now, if the others are working, I probably won't even use them. But I have a refrigerator they'll save. You know what I mean?
And remember, I keep reminding you that if you're getting them off, you're getting those worms off your driveway, don't put them in your refrigerator.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now we haven't had the rain to get them like that, but when the rains come, there'll be thousands and thousands of them on the street, out in my front yard, and crossing the driveway. There's big old long ones, great big ones, and I always put them in a freezer, in a refrigerator, and they go bad, and that's because they're not used to the cold weather. And I didn't realize that till you told me that. But we're gonna do some different things with those. But right now, I just wanna catch some fish, and I'm really not looking for bait. I'm really not looking for eating fish. I'm just looking to catch a few.
You keep mentioning the fact that how low the water was, and what that brought to mind was how little snow we got here in our neck of the woods this year. We had those 2 weeks of that bitter cold, but other than that, it's been an extremely, extremely mild winter here.
Yeah.
We have, if I kept track of how many times I had to wash them dogs in the sink because they came in all muddy this winter, it'd be an awful lot. And I was talking to the guy over at the bait shop today, and he's like, we were talking about that very idea, and he brought up a pretty good fact, a pretty good thing about ticks this year. Because it's been such a mild winter, and if it's been such a mild winter where you're at, folks, if you're walking them banks, if you're walking through tall grass, even medium high grass, make sure you're checking yourself. You can really do yourself a lot of harm if you let them suckers get under your skin and stay there too long. So that's one thing I'm going to keep an eye on this year, is make sure I don't come home covered in ticks. And it's happened to me more than once. So
if you're walking banks, Mark, I got a tip for you. If you go to where I don't know where all you can get it. You get it at drugstores and stuff. Yellow sulfur. Put it around the bottom of your pants and inside your socks. If you wear socks, them ticks won't get on you.
Not keep them off you, huh? What is yellow sulfur? Where can I get that?
We used to get it at the drugstore when I was a kid. My dad, it was one of his things that he done, and you put that on, the ticks don't get on you. It is. I don't know what it is about sulfur, and it's not anything that's detrimental to your clothes or your health or anything. The only thing I know sulfur is made out of, or used for, is like fireworks and stuff, gunpowder, things like that. But they use black sulfur, and this is yellow. And I don't know,
use it for stink bombs too, don't they, Lyle?
Could very much so be. Maybe that's what them smoke bombs are made of.
That could be. I
don't know. I don't know, but
I don't mess with explosives. Thank you very much, Mr. FBI agent, listening to the stream.
Yeah, I'm no chemist, so I don't know nothing about that. But yeah, it will work. At least it did when we was kids, and that's all I cared about, was not having to dig the damn things off of me.
Pinoy Fishing Outdoors says mosquitoes already got bit up here.
Oh, them girls, they've been fishing too. They've been catching a lot of fish.
I didn't want to hear that. Hey, there's my buddy Ryan. We were talking about your big old pike you caught too, Ryan. Good for you, man.
I'd like to see that. Ryan, you should send us a picture of that so we can
share. A picture. If you could, if you don't mind me, I'll send it to myself. If he doesn't mind me sharing it, maybe.
Yeah.
Ryan, let me know if I can share that picture of that pike with everybody in chat.
Yeah, if you don't mind, we'd love to show it to everybody. If probably a 40-inch one really isn't a panfish, but it started out.
It looks 40-inch. You didn't tell me it was 40.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's still, that would, they started out as panfish. They was little when they started out. We got all kinds of, out where I've been going, Mark, we have all kinds of he says PM.
Yeah, thumbs up. I got from him. Thumbs up. Okay. All right.
Fry everywhere. Thousands and thousands and thousands. Little bluegills all over the place. I thought it was a little early for that, but
yeah, it does seem a little early.
There's nothing else out there around there but bluegill and bass. I know them bass haven't spawned yet.
I know that the bait fish haven't either, which is why, larger sized bait fish work pretty good. Even large sized sucker this time of year, at least for me, they always have. So here, let me share this screen out here real quick. I got some other pictures to share later. Let's see if this is the right one. Here we go.
Said he caught a 28-inch walleye Sunday. That is a giant, man.
It's a big and good job. Good job, Ryan. Look at that pretty thing too.
Beautiful. Cool. They're cool looking, man.
You call him Yankee Gar. I heard you, Lyle.
I might have.
Way to go. You know what? Since we're showing off pictures, I don't mean to be doing like a bragging board or anything, but these people sent me these pictures. I figure I'm going to share them. Oh, wait a minute. Let me close this. I figure I'd share them with the people that are in here. So why don't I do that now? What do you say, Lyle?
That's great. Yeah.
Look at this. Danny Stone. Danny Stone caught a bunch of fish.
He did.
He on your jigs, your hand ties, and on some of the jig heads that David from Double Hook Angling sent him. Congratulations to David. He got a new pontoon boat, from my understanding.
Yeah, I heard something about that. I've seen a picture of it actually. So
nice pile of bluegill there. I know, Lyle, you and him look at that and think fish fry.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
That was the outcome of that. That looks pretty tasty, definitely.
Oh yeah, it does.
And this was sent in by my buddy Jerry Parker. He got onto some good fish. You see this one right here, Lyle? What is that? Take a guess at what that is. What do you think that is in that cooler?
I can't see very much of it, really. It looks like a large mouth bass.
I think it is. Way to go, Jerry Parker.
You know what, Jerry? Every one of them a real smart guy told me one time, every time you eat a largemouth bass, that's one less crappie and bluegill that sucker's going to eat.
I've heard you say that more than once.
I believe him. I really do.
But I do want to. Jerry I'm looking at the jig head right here, and it looks a little familiar. That's all I'm going to say. I might know.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
Thanks
I have some like that. I have some like that.
Let's see. We got Matt says, I set up my live bait tank today. Then seen 30s at night this weekend. Y'all think it would be okay since it has a pump? Where are you keeping it? It depends. A pump's going to keep it from getting surface ice. As long as it's in the sun during the day, it should be fine. Mm-hmm. Should be all right. As long as that water's moving and you're breaking surface water, it should be okay. But I refuse all responsibility for anything.
Right. That's exactly right. I see Sean T Outdoors has joined us along with Avid and Freddie from FOA Customs.
Like Simpson's in the house too.
Yep. Matt from Wanna Be Outdoors. Have I missed anybody? Don't think so. But yeah, I don't think that the panfish in my area has really cranked up yet, but these warm days, water temperature warming up, it's not going to be long. They're going to be on fire. And I'm looking forward to that.
Like I said, what I've been hearing and seeing online, and some people I've talked to, they are in the real shallows. Tip that I, kind of fall back on every year is find structure that's sticking out of the water in the sunlight, because that stuff will heat up pretty good.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That'll heat up. So those are kind of the places I'm gonna, like I says, we're gonna give it a heck tomorrow, which is why I stopped to get some minnow. So I'd have everything covered. So
absolutely. Mike Irwin has joined us. Dawson with Fishing with Squirrel has joined us. Glad to see all you folks has made it in. Dawson had a really good video out the other day, catching him crappie. He's been on it with that, showing people how to use those
front-facing sonar. I believe he uses Active Target, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he does. It's working for him real well. Hey, Chrissy Brown has made it in. Welcome, Chrissy.
Hi, Miss Chrissy. So, all right. So, We were talking a little bit about worms, right? We covered that. You
Mhm.
like to use them. You're going to take some with you.
Yeah.
And you're talking night crawlers mainly, right?
Well, night crawlers, red worms, and what's some other ones that we talked about? The wax worm.
The wax worms,
Yeah.
waxes. And what kind of hooks are you bringing with you, Lyle?
Eagle claws. I don't know the numbers of them offhand, but I like to use the 8s and 10.
So like the Aberdeen type hooks?
Yes.
I'm 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 a firm believer that you got to match hooks to your bait, whether it's artificial or live, or
Yes.
live just as much as you would artificial, I guess is what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say. So when it comes to using worms, I'm pretty much using Aberdeen hooks for the most part with red worms myself.
You know what else goes good with Aberdeen hooks? Crickets.
I don't know anything about using crickets for bait, Lyle. We had this discussion, remember?
They
I'd like
work.
to try it.
They work. If you can find somebody that handles them, because a lot of places don't want them because they smell. Well,
I'll just
we'll
get them from a pet store. I'm thinking maybe I'll try them this year.
Yeah, pet store. Yeah, that's the place to get them.
And you just hook right through them on an Aberdeen hook,
Yeah.
huh? Throw them out there.
Yeah,
I'll
they
have to
love
try
them.
that. Nothing like a bluegill hitting something on the surface. That's always fun to
Yeah,
see.
because they're very aggressive.
Mhm. Oh yeah, they are. What else we got? Leeches. You ever use leeches, Lyle?
I have not, and I think that that's something that I would try if they was available to me. But they're like crickets. They're not everywhere in my area. Now I don't know if they got them at Bass Pro Shop or anywhere like that or not. But if I see them, I'll try. I really will.
Up north, like up in Madison and further north, and up into Minnesota, obviously, even up into Canada, they use the heck out of leeches in the summer for the most part. And they're not the kind of leeches that you think. They're not the ones that are going to latch onto you right away and suck a bunch of blood out. So
Right. Brian says when he was a kid, they went to Missouri with his dad, and you can get crickets at the little bait shop at the campground. His biggest bluegill come off a cricket. There you go.
yeah, now I'm going to have to try it because I got a bluegill spot around here, Lyle.
I used to buy them down in Owensboro, Kentucky from Jim and Sheila, and they come in a tube about that long. And I think there was 100 of them in there. Of course, you always spill them in your boat, and then you got to listen to them bastards all year. You know what I mean?
My luck, they'd get loose in my truck. I was thinking that same thing.
God, they're noisy. Holy crap, they make a lot of noise. But I got them. We used to buy them down there because we catch moon eye with them in the rocks. We just float them down by in riprap and stuff, and there's always moon eye up in there, and you catch them that way.
Back when I was in high school, back in the dark ages, back in BC days, somebody had ordered like a whole box of 1,000 crickets, right? And they brought them into school and they let them loose in the hallway.
You don't know anything about that, though, right?
It wasn't me. The kids got busted, and I think they ended up having to pay like $800 to have it cleaned up. And this was back in like 1988, if I remember correctly. That was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I think of every time you guys start talking crickets. I'm thinking they're going to get loose in my truck, and I'll never get them out.
Matt says he drives 30 minutes one way to get bait. He refused to buy Walmart bait. I can relate, really.
Yeah, Walmart prices are kind of crazy. So, back to leeches. Yeah, the ones you get at the bait shop, they're not like the ones that, you think like the ones you're going to go. When you go red-tailed catfishing and you're wading in the water and they go into, well, we're not going to go there.
Those, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Those South American ones are a little different than the ones that we have in our area, I believe.
Even the normal ones. Well, these don't really stick to you as bad as others. Basically, I kind of saw that out of the corner of my eye. Sorry, I misspoke, Sean. One of these days, I'm going to meet him. And he's going to end up being like 3 years older than me. I know it. So my most productive way of using leeches was always, split shot with with like a wide gap hook under a float. You can't beat it. It works just like a worm or whatever, except they're always moving, they're swimming in the water. So it's kind of like a station, well, not stationary, but like a minnow movement that kind of doesn't travel too far. So they work pretty good.
If you watch very many fly tying or jig tying videos as I do, and I watch a lot of them, there is several leech patterns to tie up, artificial patterns. I've not done any of them because I don't know. I guess we got them here. I don't ever see them, but that don't mean they're not here. That's like a lot of other things. But I would like to try some real ones, and if they work, then the artificial ones would be the next step for me.
You got enough of all the other flies you tied. You might be able to fit 10 or 20 of them into the collection, Lyle, I think.
I'm out of boxes, boy.
I just ordered 3 more for my walleye flies, but that's another story.
You should see my truck when I go fishing. You really should.
Freddie's got 2 new product announcements tomorrow on the bait shop. We'll look forward to that, Freddie. There's John, Florida man.
That's what I'm at. The lifestyle of the rich and famous.
What's going on, John? How you doing, small waters?
Leeches hurt. Pour salt on them to get them off you. I'm thinking that we're pretty much done with cold weather, and I'll tell you why. And I've never used these for bait because nobody ever said they ever caught anything. But you know these slugs that crawl inside your house or on concrete around your house, the little slug things. I seen one on my front porch the other night when I let the dog out, and I'm thinking, the grounds have got to be too warm for much anything else to go bad. Has to be. Because those things don't come out when it's cold.
No. Well, the sun will warm it up during the day, so.
That's the first one I've seen. Oh, there's Frank with Twisted Fishing Outdoors. Welcome, buddy.
What's going on, Frank? How you doing, bud? Hopefully you got all that dust off. Hey, there's Solo Texan Adventures. What's going on, buddy? Ryan says, when I was a kid, my dad took me to Hayward, Wisconsin, which is where I'm going this June, I think, Lyle. Swimming up there, me and my cousin came out with leeches all over our legs. I had that same thing happen up in Minnesota more than once.
I've not had that happen. I don't want it to happen, but I could, if you happen to get out of the boat in the swamp up at Mendota, up there in my favorite area to fish, I'm thinking as mucky and muddy as that is, would be a prime place to get them.
You're going to need a Clorox bath if you fall into that water.
I think you're right about that. That looks pretty rough, but it holds a lot of fish.
It does hold a lot of fish, but it's just like you said, it's kind of a swamp back there, and there's a lot of pine vegetation, and it just smells like that. I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's a rough place. I wouldn't want it on me, but yeah. Hey, Ricky. But yeah, it holds fish. That's where they go to spawn, and I like fishing it. I don't like getting in and out of it and untangling all the crap off the props and all that, but sometimes you got to do things that you don't like to do. And other times you get images in your mind of something that you dearly like a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah. You don't remember the bad parts here in March when you're getting ready to leave out there. That's for sure.
That's right. That's right. But I don't mind any of that stuff too awful bad, you know.
So we got leeches covered. Now let's go to minnows.
Okay, let's do that.
I paid $15 for 3 dozen today, Lyle.
$5 a dozen for minnows?
It cost me like $15 after taxes. And you know, well, taxes suck over here, but
yes, they do.
15
Holy
bucks.
Crap.
But I got the large ones. So not that makes any difference. They shouldn't be that much, but just to let everybody know, that's exactly what I bought today. But we got them. We're ready to go. We'll see if they help tomorrow. I got a bunch of plastics loaded up in anyway. But I wanted to bring them up because the 3 main minnow types that we have or that I use up here. We have shiners, we have fatheads, and we have suckers. I use the fatheads. A lot of people call them just plain old crappie minnows at bait shops or anything. I use those bait just like it says for crappie mostly. You can catch anything on any minnow, but one thing I wanted to let the people in the chat know, if you did know, is their characteristics. Like, all right, fatheads and suckers, when you have them on a hook, they're always trying to swim down. They're always nose down towards the thing. So you want to hook them, in the back. And I'm talking with just a regular J hook or an Aberdeen or one of them true turn hooks, which I kind of like to use. I forget who makes those. I think they're an Eagle Claw product. I could be wrong. But yeah, they fish down where shiners like to swim up. So you want to hook them a little to the back of the center of them. So when they're swimming up, and keep in mind where you have your split shot placed on a line, most definitely, especially if you're dead sticking it, which is how I usually fish minnows. It's either under a float or hanging off the side of my boat. Of course, you can use a jig head too, but I use that basically when I'm trying to put some action on it manually, if I'm casting a minnow or if I'm keeping it down off the bottom, keeping them off the bottom, like fishing for walleye or something like that. Or this time of year, I'll even fish for bluegill off the bottom. You'll get them too, or in colder water. So, the suckers swim down, the fatheads swim down, and the shiners swim up. I couldn't, I don't use live shad, so I couldn't recall if they swim up or down on Lyle, do you happen to know, or I always use dead shit.
Mine usually cut.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, I really couldn't tell you, to be honest. Benoit Outdoors says $3.50 a dozen where they're at, for 1 dozen in Minor in Ohio. And then Ricky says he's going to be going out this weekend trying some jigs that he got from me. I believe he won those. So let us know if it's okay that you don't have service. Most of the places around here don't have that good a service either. So I understand your issue there, but yeah, pictures would be awesome. And we'd love to see those if you'd have any success with them. And I hope you do. I really do. Oh, I was done.
Oh, Frank over Twisted Fishing. He catches his own bait. Now, that's another topic I wanted to bring up. He says fatheads, golden shiners. I catch those hook and line for the most part. Emerald shiners and small size chubs is what I can catch in my area. I usually catch bait myself unless I'm in a hurry, and a dozen fatheads are $3.50 a dozen. That's not too bad. Now, here in Illinois, I know for the longest time the hornhead chubs were on the endangered. Lyle's laughing. Is that a pet name for something you want to share, Lyle? No.
Nope.
Okay, just checking sure. I know they were on the endangered list here in Illinois for a while. I think they've been removed, but make sure you're checking your regulations and you got your book with you to identify what you're taking, because them fines are pretty hefty if they can find these fish in a bucket when you're carrying with. I know one guy who had a cast net out and had 3 tiny dime size crappie get mixed into his bait bucket when he was throwing a cast net for shad, and they find him a whole buttload of money.
Yeah. You brought up a point there that we haven't never talked about. In Missouri, and I assume it's this way in every state, they make a hand booklet. When you buy your license, you can pick up. They cost you $0, and it has all the regulations and what you can and can't do, and what you can and can't use, and images of different things throughout them from the Missouri Department of Conservation. Cost you nothing. You got to buy the fishing license anyhow. Reach down and pick that booklet up and take it with you. Keep it in your tackle box, in your boat, somewhere where it's readily accessible. So if you have a question, you can look it up. And if it's not in there, in the back of the book, there is a phone number where you can call them.
Also, your phone. I just here's something that I'm going to bring up, because I'm associated with with FishBrain, Lyle, they have a new part of their app that I'm helping them to promote here in the next couple of weeks, where you can take a picture of the fish you catch, and it'll automatically scan that photo and identify that fish for you.
Oh, wow. That will be handy.
So if you're an iOS user, it's available for you now. The Android one is coming out soon, but don't
understand why it wasn't first.
Because there's more iPhones than there are Androids. Let's not get into this. But it's going to come out soon, folks. So if
I'm anxious to see that, I really am. That'd be handy.
It's part of the free version of the app, so you don't have to get the pro version, but the pro version's pretty neat. I've been given pro access to it, and I really kind of like the app. It's pretty neat. It does all sorts of stuff. This isn't an ad for them or anything, but I wanted to bring that up since we were talking about fish identification, and I was just talking with the people over there today about it. So it was some pretty exciting stuff.
Awesome. Welcome, Tom. Glad to see you in here tonight. And Mr. Ellenbecker has joined us. He said the regulation book is always a good idea. Regulations can change from body of water also, and fish lengths of what you can harvest and what you can't change from lake to lake in our state. So, yeah.
Well, we talked about this, or you posted the image of up in Mendota. They changed panfish limit, whether it's perch, bluegill, or crappie. They changed it to 10 max.
I did post that, and I read that, and I thought, with all of the people that's going up there, some of the people will need bait, and if 10 is the limit per day, I assume that double that will be your maximum you can have on hand. So you have to really be careful, because that would include all panfish, not just bluegill or perch or whatever. So if you're catching bait while you're there, you're going to have to really watch out. But usually there's more than one person to a boat, so that allows you a few more. Sean T says, I'd rather pay $2,000 for an iPhone than get a free Android. Something wrong with him.
Nothing at all.
Fishing with Jeff Beal has joined us. Welcome, buddy.
Jeff? What's going on, LG? How you doing? Hey, there's Chad over at Fields to Water. What's up, Chad?
Hey, Chad. He's looking. He's probably busy.
Well, actually, Frank says, sounds like they are trying to create a large panfish fishery in Mendota. Mendota's, all right, little story to me stopping at a DNS bait last year. I was talking to Pat over there, and I asked him if he could point me in the right direction to catch some bluegill, not thinking nothing of it. He says, I'll tell you where to catch walleye, pike, cat, whatever you want, but I ain't telling you where to catch bluegill on that lake.
Wow.
So they hold them pretty coveted over there. There's a lot of hardcore panfish guys. He happened to be one of them. And they're trying to preserve the perch fishery, I think, a lot, because that's big business, big guide business there in the winter, definitely, because it was nothing to catch a limit of 25 perch at 12 inches plus over there in the past. So,
well, let's face it, Mark, when we go up there, if we're looking for bluegill, they know what we're going to do with it.
They do.
The locals do, and maybe that's why they don't want to harvest it out, because you get a whole bunch of people going up there, and they all need bait, and they all get their limit every day they're there. That's a lot of bluegill.
I think there's even more people out there that catch them constantly that eat them. I think that's a big table fare in that part of the country.
They're good eating now
in that town.
They really are.
Plus, they got all them catfish eating on them too. So,
yeah. And they're going to get their share.
Well, I think a lot has to do with, that's also feeder fish for those trophy pike and that they're trying to grow in that water, and they're trying to get the walleye up there in size, which is why the minimum size in that body of water is 18 inches, which is more than the rest of the state. And they also lowered the walleye creel limit from 5 to 3 with their slot limit. So
yeah, I'm glad to see regulations like that put in effect. I wish that some of the other states would take up for that. And we talk about catfish regulations a lot on a lot of different platforms, but it's not just them. The amount of people that use a shad for bait, we'd have to watch over harvest of shad and moon eye and skipjack and other things. And bluegill fall into that category also because they are a bait that is used to catch a lot of catfish. So, there's just a lot of things. Over harvest is a terrible thing because once it's gone, it takes a long, long time to get it back, regardless of what the species is.
But if you can keep that balance and not just in check, but at a point where it's at the tipping point forward, it's easier to keep up with them. And I think the biologists there have figured that they reached the opposite side of that, so they're just trying to reverse it, which is good. All the other lakes on that chain up there, they didn't change any of the limits on the panfisher stuff, which is a good deal though.
Hey, Art has joined us from the 1 Ton Fishing Club.
What's going on, Art? How you doing? And I saw Dog Andy. What's up, Curtis Cunningham? How you doing? I imagine it's Dog and I don't think it's Andy.
I think it is. Mike Irwin. I think we said hello to him, but we don't want to say it again. So what else have you got on the minnow situation?
Well, all right. One tip that I learned in the last couple of years, when I'm bottom fishing for minnows, like larger size suckers and stuff, with long shank hooks, you can take the hook and put it through don't pierce the lips. You want to get it, through the lips into the body. And rather than just put it up through the top of their head, push a little bit back and turn it like a quarter turn. So you're not going through the spine or the brain, and that fish will stay live on that hook. It won't die instantly, and it'll actually stay alive for a little while if you're hopping that minnow off the bottom. That's something that I learned late in life, which really, they stay on a lot better too. You can cast them a lot farther that way.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Do you tip jigs with minnows?
I do. That was one of my things. And if you're in my boat with me and we are using minnows, you'll notice that I'll take the dead ones and throw them back in the bucket, Lyle.
Yeah.
I'll tear the heads off them and I'll put them on. I'll tip plastics and even hand ties as of late with the heads on those. I'll tip spoons, since we were talking about perch, the small spoons with the little treble hooks, whether it's a Castmaster or an ice fishing spoon. The more you got to put a little meat on them. I don't care if it's a wax worm or a spike, a piece of red worm, a piece of night crawler. I prefer, minnow heads. It works best for me. And the more stuff hanging off of them, the better for the most part. I'm talking about the innards and stuff. At least for me, it works best.
Yeah. Just more scent. And they seem to like it. Bugman22 says, I agree with a bluegill limit. I watched out favorite bluegill lake get ruined over 25-year span from over harvest. I would get so mad at guys filling coolers full. And them guys only doing what was legal. It doesn't make it any better, but whoever is in charge of making those limits should have known what was going on or paid more attention and changed that earlier before that happened. But sometimes it just gets away from them. But the people that was taking that many out, come on, man, who wants to clean that many fish? I mean, think about that.
Well, Lyle, and I don't know if you know this, but I know a lot of the people here that I've seen back in the day when I used to do a lot more bank fishing, they'll catch them and keep, no matter what size those bluegills are. They don't care. They'll throw them into a bucket. I was going to get to that after I saw Ryan make that. I forgot all about the crawfish, Ryan. Thanks, bud. They'll get half a bucket full of them, and you know what? I asked them what they do. They steam them, and then they throw them in a meat grinder, and they put them on a cracker. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do
They're
that.
within their legal rights, within the regulations, but come
Wow.
on, they're taking like 3, 2, and 3 and 4 inch fish. It was ridiculous. So
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't
Ryan
want to do that.
Ryan mentioned crawfish. I totally forgot about crawfish. I've only used them a few
Me too.
times. I tried using them for catfish, Lyle, and over here, every time I used them, all I would catch are like dink smallmouth bass with them. They seem to love them crawfish here. I don't know why. I was just hoping to catch some channel cats, but ended up with a bunch of like 10, 11 inch smallmouths with them. And that was just hooking them through the tail. I know a lot of guys use rubber bands, put them around the body, and then put a J hook through on the rubber band to keep them alive and stuff. I haven't tried that, but I imagine if you're chasing like smallmouth or some other sport type of fish like that, that they'd work great for, because it is natural forage.
The channel cats love them here. If you're fishing a small river or a creek and there's a riffle in it and it has channel cat in it, you can put that right in that riffle and you'll catch them till there is no more. I mean, channel cat adore, especially the little white ones that are about that long. They're perfect for channel cat fishing. Now, we're not talking about giant channel cat because we never did catch any really big ones on them, but you catch all the eater size ones that you want. Josh says limits need to be water specific. We can take buckets out of our local lakes and they still run small. They're overpopulated and stunted, and that happens to a lot of places. It really does. And the limits need to be increased to reduce the population, and the ones that are underpopulated, then they need to reduce the amount of outgoing so that they have a chance to grow and produce more.
I went
Great
ice fishing
comment.
once. I went ice fishing with my friend Violet at her tournament partner's house. He lives on a lake here right off the river. It used to be there used to be public access to the lake, but that got all messy. It's been in the courts with the township and the people of the town for the past, I think, 15 or 20 years, Lyle, no joke. But
Wow.
anyway, nobody was fishing that lake. And it is overrun with like 8 inch bass. We were ice fishing over there, and these tournament bass fishermen are like, keep every damn one of them. The more we catch, the better we are. So we ended up
Wow.
doing that. So yeah, you definitely have to you have to control a population on a body of
That's
water.
exactly right. Fishhead Videos, welcome so much. Glad to have you here in the show with us tonight. And Josh had another comment that says slot limits do a lot more for a fishery than bag limits. And I would tend to agree on that, but they sure make a lot of people mad. And I say tough cookies.
We have a slot limit for flatheads here, and it works really well. And we got walleye slot limits too near us, so those work really well.
He missed a shrimp at lunch today. Just found one hiding in the chicken. We had lunch with Josh today, and he had shrimp and chicken for dinner. He ate all the shrimp, took the chicken home.
Looks like you got a bonus for dessert.
Yeah, no kidding. He missed one. I don't know how that happened.
What's going on, Curtis? How you doing, bud? 205 Wild Action. How are you?
Man.
Matt had mentioned up in comments earlier that he uses ice fishing jigs year round. Ice fishing jigs are great. The hooks are a little small for me, other than using them for bluegills, but they work great. I mean, you can catch crappie and stuff on them. I like using tungsten ice fishing jig heads when I'm fishing, definitely for smaller species of fish. And I love using them with wax worms. That's what works best for me. So,
Yeah, waxworms, they're very popular. Matt with Want to Be Outdoors says, with population checks, how close are the DNR biologist numbers really? I mean, when they shock the check numbers, where's the average come from? That depends on each state and how they do the checks. Shocking them is only one way of doing it. They also have access to all kinds of netting that they can use to catch them with, which I am I am objected to them using gill nets, and as far as I know, they don't use gill nets. But if they're using gill nets, I don't like that because a high percentage of those fish die regardless.
I haven't seen any of them around here use them in a long
Yeah.
time. They use the shocking, definitely. And if I'm not mistaken, what they do is they weigh the fish, they figure out pounds per body of water, and then they figure out the average when they're shocking them as well. You'd
That's
be
right.
surprised how close they get. People have a hard time believing that they can get pretty close numbers, but they can get close enough, real close enough.
Yeah, they do. And they don't just do one day of it. They do several days of it in a whole bunch of different areas. And then they take the average of that fishery and decide there. And with the shocking things they do, the guys that used to talk about using phones to shock up fish, granted, that works. It really does. But you have to have a rock bottom and current to make that actually work. I promise you that's the truth. I know for a fact. Now, the equipment that these guys use are generators. It don't make no difference what kind of water it is or what kind of bottom it is. Anything between point A and point B, one being on the bottom and one being on the top, if you're in between there, you get a full load. So, them poor old frogs, they can't. You'd be surprised how fast they get out of that water when they get in that electric column. I swear to God. But yeah, it's a different situation with what they're doing, and nowadays they don't just use a couple of half-inch nuts on copper wire. They have a strategically made system to get them. It used to be the old shockers, they would only get skinfish. These get them all. They don't care. It don't matter if they got scales on or not. They come up to the top of the water, float around for a little bit. Yeah. So
just do a search on YouTube and you'll see how proficient they are at it these days, especially with those.
It's very interesting to watch. It really is. And that's how a lot of the tag fish get tagged these days. What does Smart Chad have to say? Only Lyle would call eating at noon dinner. I wish I could just, but I can't. He's not in here. I can't just remove him from the screen. I could, but I don't want to. I'm not that mean. I'm not mean like he is.
I don't think you've ever removed anybody. Well, from the screen you have, but not from the chat, Lyle. You have other all those
one guy
do
one
your
time.
dirty work. Oh, one time.
One guy, one time is the only time I ever removed anybody from any show I was ever in or a part of. I just don't do that.
That would be something interesting to do to see if you can donate your time and go on one of those electroshock trips with them.
Good luck.
Well,
I'm not saying you can't in other states, but good luck getting it to do it in Missouri.
Yeah, I talked to the DNR when they were doing it out here last year. I seen them do it on one of the lakes I fish up here north, and they were more than forthcoming with what results and where they were finding stuff and giving you tips and depths, the important answers what you want, and they were happy to give that to you. So I was pretty happy about that.
One of the things that got me a few years ago, and it's the only time that I ever heard it happen, they couldn't find fish. They couldn't find the fish they was looking for to bring up to tag. They was doing studies for regulations being put on the big rivers. And they was going around asking fishermen where they was catching their fish so they could go get them to do checks on. And, of course, if you shock them, they're gone. They ain't going to be in that spot no more. They're history. They don't hang around. And nobody would tell them. And that's a bad situation on both ends because, number one, those guys should have been able to find them fish no matter what. That's their job. They should know where they're at. Number two is the other guys should have been a little bit more forthright about helping them so we can get the regulations that we need. But I think some of the people they asking didn't really want the regulations anyhow. So that's kind of how that works out. Me, I would have told them I'd just go find me some different fish. Half the fun of fishing is finding what you're fishing for.
Yep.
Kind of like getting bait.
That's part of the adventure. It really is.
Yeah, I agree.
I've had a lot of fun catching bait in my days. Lyle never had fun walking to the back of a Walmart to buy chicken. Did I say that again?
Yeah. I 100% on board with that. Believe me. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. And again, I'm not saying you can't catch fish on chicken, because you can, but I'm never gonna. The big ones, they're looking for natural bait. They just are.
Maybe we should have a panfish chicken tournament. You'll catch them on chicken. I know that for a fact. Them little panfish will eat anything you put in front of them. Look,
I think they would, especially if fatty and greasy as it is. They'd love it. I believe they would.
Frank says DNR do great things here in my district. I believe he's in Indiana, if I'm not mistaken. They know what we know, but in a scientific way. They do actually talk with us, especially if they know us over the years. Yep, 100%.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I've told this story before. Before we moved down South Missouri, I knew the guy that was the conservation agent in North Missouri, up there where we was at, and I was fishing several days a week on the Mississippi River, and he'd stop me every day that he seen me, and he knew I had a license. It wasn't that, but a lot of times I'd be the only one out fishing, and he just wanted somebody to talk to, and he'd pull up there while I fished, and we'd just shoot the breeze, stuff like that. And I was okay with that. It really was, because him and I had been into it a couple of times over a few different things, but in the end, we worked together for conservation regulations and things, so it worked out. But there was a few things he actually understood exactly how I felt about, and I explained them specifically.
The Weekend Angler says, never had fun walking into Walmart to buy chicken, but I've also never had fun walking into Bass Pro to buy live scope. I suggest you call up the folks at Russell Marine Products. It'll be a good time. Trust me, Josh.
It's a fun experience, is it?
Absolutely.
Oh man, that's funny.
I gotta order my Apple glasses to go with my live scope here, Lyle, pretty soon.
Apple glasses? I need to make Apple watch
glasses. You posted that meme of the guys with the hunch over from looking at the live scope. You won't need to hunch over. You can just watch anywhere. You'll be able to see your live scope screen.
Oh man, I thought that was kind of funny myself.
Me too.
Okay. After the conversation we had earlier, I was thinking, oh boy.
What's up, 205 Wild Action? How you doing?
Oh man. Gonna get cool again next week, he says, up there at least. I'm not sure where 205 is at. North of us.
I think we got a cold spell probably coming. Like I said, it's only March, so
yeah, that's right. We've been liable to get snow yet again, but every day further into this year, the further away from that crap we are going to be. So I'm okay with it.
No, actually, we're looking pretty good into next week, so that'll be cool. Looking forward to it. That time of year, the daffodils are popping. That means crappie are going to start popping too. So,
and mushrooms.
Absolutely. I watched the morel maps too. They're in Southern Illinois right now.
Here's an interesting, I know this is kind of off of the live bait situation, but Matt says biologists there does not like answering questions you have for them. And Matt, I would explain to them as nicely as you could, because I know you're very tactful, that that's their job. Do your job. You're getting paid to do it, so do it.
Maybe they just don't like Matt.
I don't know about that. I have enlightened people about that before, that didn't want to answer my questions. But, sir, that's your job. That's what my tax dollars pay you to do, is answer my questions. So answer my question. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they just get mad and walk away. And sometimes they want to scrap. I'm a little too old for that now. Back in those days, I was not. I'm glad to see Josh made it home safely today. Fields to Water says, Josh, you're missing greatness.
I think they're talking about mushrooms because Josh doesn't like mushrooms.
Oh, really?
But he does like drum.
See, there's an issue there. there's something wrong. Oh, man. I did not try to get you into a fight today. I really didn't. I was trying to protect that old man from getting his head peeled. 3 Nights says his son is a biologist for the United States Federal Forest. I'm not sure what that is.
USF Fish and Wildlife, United States Fish and Wildlife.
Okay. He will talk all day with anyone. See, now that's how they're supposed to be. That's their job. He knows what his job is. He probably enjoys it and enjoys telling people about it. Them's the guys I like to deal with. They are the one. Fish and Wildlife, Josh says. You're right, Mark. But yeah, those kind of guys, they're fun to be around. Most of the time, if they're willing to visit with you, they're very knowledgeable, and that makes it even better because you're getting correct information. Yeah, most of them are, Dawson. Most of them are. I really, I haven't run into any like that in years and years and years.
They're even nice to you when they're writing tickets.
They laughing the whole time, man.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah. I never minded being checked on the water. Been checked many, many times in fishing tournaments and everything else. Never minded it a bit because those guys are only doing what they're paid to do. That is their job. If you're not doing anything wrong and you are up to speed with license and all the correct stuff, you have nothing to worry about. They won't make anything up and get you in trouble. What kind of knots do I normally tie on my jigs? I will make a loop and run the jig back through it 3 times and then tighten it up to where I got about this much of a loop, and it will never slip, and just trim off your tag.
Same here. I use a loop knot unless I'm using braid, and then I use Palomar. And yes, Lyle does use crappie nibbles. I've used them in the past. Mm-hmm. I've switched over to some sets. So
I also have a little fetish with the what do you call them little fish you sent me?
Oh, the Berkeley gulp minnows, the one that
gulp minnows. I have had limited success on them, but they intrigue me enough that when I run out of the ones that Mark sent me, I bought some more because I think that at the right time, just like a lot of other baits, at the right time, they would be very useful. But I have had limited success with them. Some days they work pretty good. Other days they don't work at all. But hell, that's with any bait. It really is. So I'm waiting for the day when I can't beat the fish off of one. And then I can say, you know what? I had a day with these things. And I look for that. And it's the same way with the crappie nibbles. Some days I'm using them on jigs for bluegill, and some days they work, and some days it doesn't make any difference if they're on there or not. And I can't explain that. I wished I could. But they have a unique odor to them, and I think smell is as important as color a lot of times because they can smell stuff they probably can't see, would be my guess. Now, I have no way of proving that. That's just my opinion. But I know with a lot of other fish, smell is very, very important, and vibration is something else that's really important to a lot of fish. But crappie nibbles and things like that, they all have unique odors, and I think that any kind of thing like that, I know Mark got the chance to try some stuff called smelly jelly one time. I know he was really impressed with that. Mm-hmm. I've not run into it if I do, I'll probably get some to try, because anything that you can do that give you an advantage over that fish is just that much better for you.
And if you get, I use the garlic stuff, Lyle. You get some of that stuff in your back of your pickup truck. It smells like an Italian restaurant. No joke. Whole back of my pickup truck smells like garlic. Like shrimp du jour.
Oh yeah, Italian food is some of my very favorite. I love pasta. Don't like me. It makes me rounder than I already am, and I don't need that at all. But I do love pasta.
922 Crappie Barbecue brings up a good point. He says he's talking about DNR. Treat them with respect. They may even give you a warning. Give them attitude. They will write you a ticket for everything they legally can.
And I agree with that. I went through it when I was a kid with state patrolmen. My God, they hated me. But I sit around and aggravated them every night. I mean, I can't blame them. But yeah,
it's true in so many different places in life. Treat people with respect.
Is.
You usually
It
get
really
it back.
is. It really is. But I hope that everybody got a little something out of our live bait episode tonight. I've enjoyed it. I love talking about using worms and stuff. Mark uses a lot of minnows. We'll probably be using some more this year because I want to catch a few more crappie. But bluegill's my favorite panfish. It just is. I can't help it. I like to eat them. I like to catch them. I like to use them for bait. So, they just work out good for me, and they're everywhere. You really don't have to be over careful looking for a spot, because if it's got water and any kind of structure at all, it's probably got bluegill in it. And that makes it very, very good for me. But I overlooked a lot of rock spots where not just riprap, but rock in general along the banks of Stockton and Truman and Palm de Terre and some of those lakes around me, that I think those are areas that I need to concentrate on more. And if I can find those rocks with fallen trees and wood of some kind in there, then I think my limitation of what I can catch will grow.
Transitions are a good place to go to.
Yep, I agree. So Ricky says he's practicing this weekend. Well, good luck, buddy. I hope you catch a bunch. Matt says gold minnows in a different size and color is a good idea too. Frank,
I've had some pretty good luck with the three, because they come in three. They come in bigger than 3 inches, but with the 3-inch Berkeley gulps, I've had so luck with crappie. Usually bass will snag them up. 1 inch are my go-to. I like using the green and the emerald shad, and then the white one. There's a white one too. I forget what the name of those are. Those are the 3 I usually keep.
Frank's, I can't pronounce the name of that. I have seen their videos online. I would like to try some of that sometime to see how it works. But if you say it's awesome natural scent, then I'm in with it, because they have quite a product line of stuff that appears to work very well. So, are they local to you, Frank, or are you just like using their product?
A lot of this stuff looks good. It works good. To me, what I look for is something that's going to stay on the bait a lot longer. I'm going to try using some of the stick stuff. I know I saw that.
I'm going to have to let that pass. Damn, it's funny. Oh. These guys will do anything to get me in trouble, because usually I'll put her on up there. Frank says, I just use them for trout and salmon, but I found their products work good for multiple species.
Yep, it works good for everything.
That's great. Maybe I'll order some of that next time I see it online.
I use a lot of the pure. I got a lot of the Procure stuff too that works pretty good. The Procure scents, they work fairly well.
I've heard good things about that also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, have you got anything else to talk about tonight, Mark?
No, I think we covered everything, at least, that I've had experience with. I don't know much about anything, but I've had experience with all the stuff I've talked about today.
Right. It made for a lot of fun show, and I think that we hit some good spots on it for people that maybe will help them a little bit and catch some more fish. Again, if you people have anything specifically you'd like Mark and I to talk about or research and come up with ideas for you, just let us know. Guests for the show and stuff. We have some we're working on. Right now is a tough time to get some people lined up, but we're working on some new guests and get all that taken care of. But if you have anything specifically you'd like us to do, just send us a message. We'll be happy to make it happen for you if we can. And tomorrow night, Chad will be live with Freddie and Brian. So that's damn.
And
I
Freddie,
hit the wrong
the bait
button.
shop.
Yep, Bait Shop, and then Monday night Catfish Weekly will be on at 7. And we'll be back here next Wednesday. And in the meantime, there's Jody and Stan, and I can't keep up with all of them anymore. There's too many of them. Used to be there's just one, then there was 2 or 3, and now there's every night of the week, different times of the day and night, and I can't keep up with all of them. But the end result is you can watch fishing all the time on YouTube, and for the most part, I feel like better than a lot of the stuff that's on TV. That's just me.
I don't watch TV.
Huh?
I don't watch TV.
I like the YouTube stuff a lot better. I really do. So, and unless it's saltwater, then if I'm watching saltwater stuff, there's some pretty good TV saltwater shows. But Tinalina says, we want to know about Mark's experience with the Widow Martin.
No idea.
I don't know. Widow Martin. I don't know. You might want to message him privately because I'm at a loss. Oh, man.
Maybe Widowmaker. I don't know.
Maybe.
Martini. Widow Martini.
You wouldn't drink a martini, would you?
I would. So I ain't going to lie. I'm waiting to have that old fashioned I got on my mind after the show.
Sweet. I understand completely. Well, Mark, it's been a fun show tonight. I want to thank everybody for watching. Tune in next week. We'll be talking about something else. We don't have a topic picked out yet, but we'll get one here in the next day or two and let everybody know about it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you then.
Good night, everybody.